Hello everyone, today we start with digital circuits. There are two types of digital circuit. First one is combinational circuit and second one is sequential digital circuits. So there are two types of digital circuit. First one is combinational digital circuit and second one is sequential digital circuits. Earlier we already discussed about combinational circuit. So combinational circuits are the circuits in which the output depends only on the current or present values of the input variable. Examples like adder, subtractor, multiplexer, demultiplexer, encoder, decoder, and all the particular circuits we already discussed earlier lectures. Now we will go for the sequential digital circuits. In sequential digital circuits, the output depends not only on the present input variables but also on the present state as well as the last value of the output. So we can also say that sequential digital circuits are the circuits in which the output depends on the current values of the input as well as the last value of the output. So like in combinational circuit, the block diagram of combinational circuits is like that or like this. First combinational circuit. In combinational circuit, if there are two inputs, let A and B, both are the inputs and the output represented by Y. So here we see that the output Y depends on only on the values of A and B. If suppose Y equals to A plus B, it means the output Y depending on the value depends on the value A and B. Suppose let A equals to 0 and B equals to 0. If A equals to 0 and B equals to 0, then the value of Y equals to 0 plus 0 always be equals to 0. It means the value of output Y depends on the current input variables A and B, and the current values of A and B is 0 and 0. So the output value of Y always be equals to 0. Now suppose the value of A changes 0 to 1 and B remains same. B have earlier value 0, so now it again 0. So now the current value of output Y 1 plus 0 always be equals to 1. So the output changes from 0 to 1. The change in the output because of the current value of A now changed from 0 to 1. So in combinational circuit, the output depends only on the current values of the input A and B. Now we discuss about sequential circuit. In sequential circuit, here is the block diagram of sequential circuit. So there are two inputs A and B, and earlier the output is Y, and there is a connection from output there is a output connection there is a output connection output to input with the help of a memory element. So if suppose the new output Y dash equals to A plus B plus Y, so here we see that in sequential circuit there are three input. First one is A, second one is B, and third input which is connected from output. So there is a feedback connection between output and input. So the new output y dash always be equals to a plus b plus y. It means the output always depends on the current values of the input as well as the last value of the output. So in this type of circuit we have the requirement of an element which store the particular output. So this output is known as memory element. So sorry, this particular storage element is known as memory element which stored the output for a time being. So suppose initially the current output is 0. Initially y dash equals y equals to, initially the circuit have the output y equals to 0 and a equals to 0, b equals to 0. A and b have value 0. It means the current values of the input is 0. So output of that particular circuit y dash always be equals to 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals to 0. Suppose let now the value of a now change to 1 and b remains same 0 and y equals to 0. So the new output y dash equals to 1 plus 0 equals to 1. So new output y dash now become 1. Now again the value of a equals to 0, b equals to 0 and y equals to 1. So the new output, now we have changed the value of a equals to 1 to 0 and the current value of the output is y, last value of the output is y equals to 1. So y dash equals to, y dash equals to 0 plus 0 plus 1, so equals to 1. So like this the output depends on the current values of the input as well as the last value of the output. So this type of circuit is also known as combinational circuit with feedback. So these type of circuit are also known as combinational circuit with feedback. So the main difference between combinational circuit and sequential circuit is the output depends, not only depends on the current values of the input as well as it depends last value of the output also. So that is the basic difference between combinational circuit and sequential circuit. The other one another additional difference is also that combinational circuit are faster because the delay between the input and output is due to propagation delay of gates only. But in sequential circuits, the sequential circuits are slower than combinational circuit. Now we further classify the sequential circuit. If we further classify the sequential circuit, there are two types of sequential circuits. The first one is synchronous sequential circuit and another one is asynchronous sequential circuit. The first one is synchronous sequential circuit and next one is asynchronous sequential circuit. In case of synchronous sequential circuit, memory elements are clocked flip-flops. In In synchronous sequential circuits, memory elements are clocked flip-flops, or we can say that in